Suzanne's Paparazzi Jewelry, 24/7 shopping available. 160920 is the code. Show her some love, like she showed us.
Hello and welcome to Tuesdays on Deck. I am Big B. On Deck is brought to you by Coast to Coast Entertainment Network, like normal. With me is Crispy Bacon, Syrup Crispy Bacon. How are we doing, Chris?
Doing good, not too bad. Nice day. Rangers are getting ready to play, so no score update on there yet, but not too bad.
We'll definitely keep track of some of the scores. And yes, that is Mr. G down there, Big Dog Greg. Kind of looks like he's on a roller coaster, moving his camera all around, getting me sick here. So motion sickness. So how you doing? Oh, and Greg decided to leave us. So Greg will be back. Dirk is on a coaching baseball thing for his team, so he'll be out today. There he is, Big Dog Greg. How you doing, bud?
I'm doing pretty good, man. For a minute there, I couldn't hear you guys.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it looked like you're on a roller coaster the way you're moving that camera around. So, anyways, guys, we're roughly 3 weeks in, 2.5 weeks into the season. Greg, we missed you last week, so why don't you let us know how your Cardinals are doing?
Right now, I'm pretty ecstatic because my Cardinals are doing pretty good. I mean, and you know, it's kind of crazy because we haven't really seen a whole lot of Nolan Arenado, you know, as of late. But we're getting some good run production. We're sitting pretty good, sitting atop the Central in the National League, and you know, I think we're top 5, top 6 team right now. Got good pitching, some veteran pitching and everything. And, you know, Yachty's looking already in midseason form. So getting excellent play defensively in the outfield. And so, I don't know, I'm just really looking forward to this season.
All right. How's Pujols doing? He's gotten, 2 home runs out of the 21 he needs, or did he get a couple more?
I haven't followed. I saw that he was off to a pretty hot start. You know, it was really nice to see that first bomb that he hit about a week ago or so. You know, his first bomb back in St. Louis. So that was always that just brought back some good memories. You know, it's been a long 10 years without him. So
yeah.
I was
going to say, I tell you what, Pujols, when he makes contact on a home run, I don't know what it is, but he makes it look like it's just so easy, like it's batting practice for him. He has doesn't look like he puts much power behind it. So
yeah, it looks like he's just kind of standing up there with a toothpick, you know.
Definitely.
Just effortless. So yeah. So he's quickly approaching 700. So
yep. All right, Chris, how about you and your Texas Rangers?
You're not too bad. They're actually getting a little better. You know, last few games, I think they've won 4 out of the last 5 or 4 out of the last 6. I can't remember, but they've been on a little bit of a streak. Won the last series against Seattle. They're facing Houston in a game 2 tonight coming up. So I think things are looking up.
Okay. And my Twins just got off of a 4-game sweep this weekend of the Chicago White Sox, which helps us out, bolstered us up to first place at 8-8. The bats kind of are average right now, in my opinion. Starting pitchings, I would consider excellent. The bullpen's kind of average. So, you know, we're watching Buxton light up the team. You know, like we've said before, Buxton stays healthy. He's an MVP candidate. He's definitely the driving force of the Twins. And then on the other hand of that, you got Sano, who should be the power guy, is batting 083 so far going into today's game. I don't know what they're going to do with Sano. To me, I think it's time to kind of part ways. I know the old regime is kind of in the fan base. It's like, oh, if we get rid of him, it's going to be another David Ortiz thing. Right now, I'm fine. Let him go. Let him go. Let's get somebody else in there that can hit, their weight. I guess. I mean, because right now, like I said before we started, Sano can't hit a beach ball with those red big plastic bats. Probably hit a beach ball with an oar, I would say at this time. So, but anyways, so welcome, Chrissy. No score in the Red Sox Blue Jays game. Yeah, that's going to be a battle. That's going to be a series to watch. Definitely. Chris, you got the scores pulled up for you?
I can get them real quick.
Okay. So before we move on, congrats first yesterday to Dodgers. Got the first complete game by their starter in 3 years.
Oh, wow.
From what they were saying. So I forgot who it was that did it. But anyways, I mean, it is the Dodgers. So.
Their manager must have fell asleep because usually he'd be out at the fifth inning ready to pull somebody.
Exactly. That's what we are all kind of saying, So, and joining us from the John Elkhorn Show, John Elkhorn himself. How's it going, John?
What's up? I'm still trying to figure out. I wanted to take out a loan so I could pay off what's his name's salary for the umpire, so he could officially lose the job. Because that was absolutely crazy. And my Padres lost. Good to be here.
All right, and if anybody don't know, John is getting into baseball. His team that he selected to follow is the San Diego Padres. So, John, how are your Padres doing?
Oh, man. Sunday was a nightmare. I was working this past week for retail for the Astros and just checking it here and there, like during my lunch break. And I'm looking at it. I'm like, bro, there has to be a mercy rule in freaking baseball. You're only down 10 points. It's like in working mode. Oh, you won 60-5. It was embarrassing. You can tell that Tatis injury is a big deal, and he's a big part of this team, and other are really a huge factor. So it's going to be, I think, a long season, but I just hope the Padres don't do what some teams did in the past in other leagues, where I get your star player is out, but if you're going to rush him and he'll not be 100%, this affects you this season. And if somehow you lead the postseason into next year. So take your time. I know it's going to be a second.
Well, I mean, I do have the scores up right now. And
it sounds like we lost John there. Okay, Chris, why don't you go through some of the scores right now?
All right, I'll start with the Padres because John was talking about them. They're playing Cincinnati, and at the end of 4 innings, San Diego's winning 9-3.
All right.
Screw you, other teams.
Milwaukee's beating Pittsburgh in the 5th inning 4-1. Philadelphia's winning 7-0 against Colorado, bottom of the 4th. You got Miami beating Washington 3-0, top of the 4th. Yankees beating the Orioles 3-0, bottom of the 3rd. Toronto's beating Boston 1-0. Into the 3rd.
Come on, Toronto.
Tied game between the White Sox and the Royals at 0, top of the 4th. Tie game between the Cubs and the Braves at 1, top of the 4th. Your Twins are on the board, Big B, 1-0, bottom of the 2nd.
I can tell you with not a Sano hit, I bet.
I'm not sure. Tied at 0, Mets and Cardinals, top of the 2nd. No score in Texas versus Houston. And then there's a couple other scores that haven't been.
All right, thank you for that update. So, guys, so this past week we had I think it's the 31st member to join the 3,000 Hit Club, Mr. Cabrera. So, Chris, yes, there it is. Melky Cabrera, 3,000 hits. So, Greg, I'll start with you. where does that put him, Hall of Fame wise, and what do you think of his career so far?
Well, he's had a very storied career. I mean, we've seen him come on ever since he came on about 19 years old or so, playing for the Marlins. Started out at third base,
Yep.
already off to a prolific career. Then helped catapult them to a World Series. In his first or second year there, and he's had nothing but success, throughout the years. Very consistent hitter. Our most recent Triple Crown winner. I mean, we hadn't had a Triple Crown winner in what, 40 something years or something
Yep.
like that. And then he hit the Triple Crown, not too long ago. And so, he's in an elite club. I mean, 500 plus home runs, and 3,000 hits. He's had a long career. So, he went from third to first. He's getting a little bit maybe more limited mobility as far as, defensively. They had to move him from third to first, and now he's probably taking on more like DH responsibilities. But, yeah, definitely a Hall of Fame player, definitely a good guy in baseball. I know I've came down on him a little hard in the past just because he had a massive contract that the Tigers didn't seem to be able to get out of because his production hadn't been the greatest, throughout this, as he's getting up to his early 40s or pushing his early 40s. But definitely a great guy in the clubhouse, and I think that he's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yeah. Chris, how about you? What do you think? Watching Cabrera get 3,000, where's he at for the Hall of Fame?
I think he's up there. I mean, you get that big of a streak or reach that number, a high enough number. I think I wouldn't say a shoo-in, but I think your chances are good enough.
Yeah. John, how about you? I know you're still kind of getting into the baseball fan club here. So what did you know about Cabrera and what do you think?
Unlike certain people at ESPN or First Take, I'm not going to pretend that I know something, but I'll do my best. I think that there's no doubt that he should be considered not a Hall of Famer. Obviously, baseball is not like a game like football where you can just practice catching the football all the single time. It's like you can't guarantee what type of pitch you're gonna get. You can't guarantee if it's gonna be a curveball or fastball. Some things are to baseball is given up as a game of chance. You could swing the bat and it could be too early or too late. And so I think it's really fun for him to do that. And I still went like a girl. I can't even swing 3 times in baseball. So for him to do 3,000, that's shout out to him for that on a great career.
Yeah, no doubt. Started with the Marlins, helped them get to the World Series, win it. Went to the Tigers. I think he's won one with the Tigers. I could be wrong on that. 3,000. I mean, 31 people have done it in the whole entire baseball history. So, that's what 1% of the, if that, people have done that. And I think he's the only one or 17th person to. He's the only one to win the Triple Crown, 3,000 hit, 500 home runs. And I think he's like the 17th to have 500 plus home runs and 3,000 hits. So he's definitely in my books, a first ballot Hall of Famer. And for me, he's a class act guy. I've seen, stories on him. 2 that jump out at me. One he did this year in spring training. Tigers had a nice young rookie prospect. They brought him into the office, and Cabrera gave him his first baseman's glove and said, "Hey, first base is yours now." So Cabrera mainly be their DH, and I can't think of the first baseman's name right now. But then there was also a video where he was joking with a little kid in the stands because he missed a ball or something. The kid snagged a foul ball, and it was he was ragging on him. And then after the inning, Cabrera went over and gave him a batting gloves, and a ball, I think. So, he's a class act guy. So he definitely deserves the Hall of Fame. So, hats off to him. Who do we think is going to be the next one to reach 3,000. I was trying to find somebody posted the next group of guys. I think Robinson Cano leads the. I'm gonna see if I can find it. But who do we think is gonna be the next guy to get 3,000, Greg? Let's see.
I'd like to say that Robinson Cano just because he's the closest, but still, he's about 300 hits away, 370 hits away or so. So I mean that could take a couple seasons, and who knows about his health and how well he's going to be swinging the bat and everything. I definitely think that he's capable, but I don't know. I could see someone. I mean, I think it's going to be a while, but I could see someone like a Mookie Betts or someone like that. If he comes on strong, kind of accumulating a lot of hits and everything. 3,000 hits. I mean, it's hard to come by. I mean, it's almost as hard to come by as a perfect game. There's only about 31 of them or so that are in the 3 hit club. So
So I did find the post here, the most active. So you got Cano at 2,631, who's like Greg said, just a few away. So a couple more years if he stays healthy. Yachty years about just under 900 away, and then Votto's just around another 1,000 away. So then you got Nelson Cruz at 1924. So those are the top 5 guys. 4, I'm sorry. And then after that, everybody else is like in the 1800s, 1700s.
I'd love to see Votto get it. I'd love to see Votto. I think that he's got a great bat, but until Cincinnati either trades him or does something to build a lineup around him, they're just going to pitch around him because he's their greatest threat right now in that lineup. So he doesn't really have much in front of him or behind him. So he's probably not going to see a lot of good pitches for a while.
Yeah. And I'm still looking on the list here. I see Freddie Freeman, Altuve, Trout. Honestly, it might be a while. Mookie Betts is at 1164 as Greg said. So I mean he's at 9 years in. It might be one of these young guys, over in Toronto, Glad, Biggio, Bichette, might be the next guy. I mean, who knows? It's going to be I think it's going to be a long way. If Cano doesn't make it in 2 years, it's going to be a long way, I think, for us.
Yeah.
John, what do you think? Like I said, I know you're still, learning and finding out, but, who do you think, if anybody?
I don't want to be a homer because I may say one player, but like I said, my knowledge of baseball is way down here. Like I have a beard, but I would have to I would maybe say Altuve or Betts or something. I mean, I don't know a whole lot. I don't want to just say something out of my butt, but like I said, it's definitely a hard accomplishment. It's gonna be years and years, and he's been in the league since what? How long now?
Who, Altuve?
Or the guy that just got 3,000 hits.
Let's see here.
Cabrera.
Been in 20 years.
So it took 20 seasons.
Yep.
Uh,
Altuve's at 12 right now.
So even then, that could take before. Shoot, I could have kids by then before he gets 3,000. And that's not a knock on him. I just think it's gonna be if it took him 20 years under the rules, whatever the rules of baseball were back then. I can't imagine how long it could take now, especially with certain people that are being umpires.
Yeah. How about you, Chris? Do you think we're going to see anybody soon, or a name that might pop out that you've seen? Maybe with your Texas Rangers or somebody.
I'm not sure if it's going to be on the Ranger side, but I think it's going to be a while before we see another, big name reach this number.
Yeah, exactly. Because I mean, Yadier has already said. Greg, you might can correct me, but this was his last year, or is it proposed his last year?
I do believe that this is going to be Yanni's last year. I
Okay.
think I know what they're talking about, but um, I wouldn't rule him out. But I think that his days at catching are probably going to be slowing down.
Yeah,
If
no doubt.
he might take a DH role or something, but I do think that this is going to be it for Yachty. He's played behind the plate for a long, long time.
Yeah, no, I get it. If it's not going to be Cano any in the next probably 3 years, I don't think we're going to get a 3,000 hit for a 3,000 hit club member for a while, unless Trout turns it around and stays healthy. Because he does have a sweet bat. I mean, Machado's up there. Machado could probably do it, but he's still 1,600 away. So, but with that being said, so let's go on to some controversy here.
Uh-oh.
Let's first talk about the fans in Yankee Stadium and fans in general when you go to the ballparks and how they react. I mean, it got a little nasty in New York, I think it was, with them throwing debris and stuff onto the field. Players reacted. We've seen it. Players flipping off the fans and stuff like that. To me, who's right, who's wrong? Chris, I'll start with you. I mean, how should fans really act, and how much should sporting events in general affect the fans? I mean,
Well, I think just some events in general have been at times out of hand. I think that yeah, you get frustrated if your team loses, or you could get a bad call. It can happen in any sport, but I think the fans should have a little more respect for the players because we don't know what's really happening in the dugout or on the sideline or wherever. We think they can't do something, they can't hit a ball, throw a ball. Uh, so I think there should be a little more respect.
okay. Greg, how about you? I know we're kind of the old school of the group, so how do you think the fans have been reacting? How should the players react? I mean, what do you think?
Well, it's not uncommon to see a lot of discontent from fans, especially in major markets. When you're talking about like New York, Philadelphia, Los Angeles, especially high market areas where people seem to get a little bit more volatile than you see maybe in like mid-major type areas. And everything. So it's understandable that maybe fans are getting discontent with the product that they see and the results that they're getting, day in and day out. But I think first and foremost, it needs to work both ways. I know that for a long time, there was this huge thing where basically the professional athletes were held to this standard that they weren't supposed to engage and interact and defend themselves and everything with the fans. And then we had the Malice in the Palace, and that kind of changed everything. And I think that when Ron Artest or whatever he goes by now, started getting involved in that and going after a fan, it kind of changed the outlook and everything. Because these athletes, we may think differently of them. We may put them on a pedestal or anything like that, but they're human just like everyone else. And so they're going to have emotions. Things are going to run high. So there used to be a thing where it was basically the fans had all the liberties to say what they want, do what they want, and the players couldn't engage and get into things. And then things kind of changed a little bit. But I think that, I'm from the old school where I don't think the two wrongs make right. But I think that if you go to a game, you should be civil. I mean, you're out there to watch these athletes perform, and they're trying to do their best, and they're leaving everything out there. Most of them, day in and day out, they're doing their best. I understand that it might get frustrating to see, their performance or whatever. But, they're human. People are going to make mistakes. And I think that it needs to work both ways. I think that the fans need to be more courteous and more respectful when you go to a game. And it's okay to maybe say a few things, but as far as throwing debris and all kinds of stuff like that, or getting in fights or trying to initiate fights and stuff like that at sporting events, I think that's very uncalled for.
Yeah. John, how about you? The way fans have been acting, not just in baseball, but basketball, and what's your thoughts?
I've always been, and then with the rest of y'all, myself is very passionate about sports, nearly sounding like Christian Bale's Batman during the NFL playoffs. But there's a difference between passion and being a complete jackass. Every single fan that threw debris on the field should be banned from Major League Baseball outings completely. This reminds me, this before I started watching football, was the Jaguars and Browns game in the early 2000s. So they ended early. They were throwing beer bottles on the field against the referees. Like, I don't care. Even if Joe Burrow or even if Tatis blew the season, there is no way, at least for me, and I would assume for the rest of y'all, obviously, I am not throwing stuff on the field. I don't care how pissed off I get. It's just a freaking game. You're a freaking immature child. Get your head out of your own ass and get out of your mom's. It's just a game, like you're saying. And I think there's a difference between saying, "Oh, you said you screwed the game, boo," versus, "Hey, you're taking it personally and you're throwing stuff on the field." Like, seriously, I don't think the players are in the wrong at all. Like, if you're flipping them, okay, I don't see a problem with that. Obviously, like, if you're just randomly doing it for no reason because they say you suck, then this is different than when they're throwing stuff with you on the field, then that's a totally different story. But every single person, because they have cameras all over the place. I know, I've done security. Every single person should have their ticket, whatever you call that, season ticket holder, all that, be removed immediately. Those fans are a disgrace. And when you have other fans doing that, it's completely toxic. And I remember talking about this with people at work on Sunday, but those people shouldn't be they should literally get their TV taken away, get their phone taken away, get their internet taken away, because that's not funny or cool at the end of the day. Like, we all love baseball. We all love sports. But there is no freaking way I'm throwing something on. Y'all know how pissed off I've been. I only want to throw my phone across the room at home. But I'm not going to go throw something on the field because, oh, yes, you screwed up the game. Okay, and is your head on fire? No, so then shut up and go home. Like, I don't understand what's the big deal at the end of the day. But those fans, I hope they get their season tickets and all that removed, because that's disgusting. That's childlike behavior.
Yeah, it is definitely childish. I mean, it's just a game. Like John said, I think we all can agree. We go there for the entertainment. It's their job. They're human just like us, like Greg said. We're all going to make mistakes. And, yeah, fans need to, separate their emotions from the game. Yeah, we don't want to see our teams lose, and we don't want to see our teams make a major mistake or a favorite player, but part of life. I was actually kind of disgusted myself seeing the fans do that, and it happened here in the mid '90s with the Twins, Twins and Yankees, I think it was, and people were throwing batteries and cups and everything on there, and I felt, as a fan, I just felt disrespected that other fans were doing that. So the players, on the other hand, I mean, yeah, John, you probably got a point that, hey, you're throwing stuff at me, I'm going to, flip you the finger, yeah, or say something to you. Yeah, it's probably, okay in that sense. And, two wrongs don't make a right. But, yeah, trust me, if I got stuff thrown at me at my job, I'd probably act the same way too. So, I mean, I get it. But hopefully fans chill out and understand that it's just a game and we just need to move on. So, but speaking of that, so let's move on. I think it was Saturday. Phillies versus the Brewers, I believe it was. The whole Angel Hernandez, call. Greg, I'll let you start. I don't know if you've seen the clips yet, but Scherber got upset at the bottom of the ninth 3-2 count. Call on the outside that might have touched the black. Hernandez calls it a third strike, and bat flip goes. Scherber gets all animated. What do you think? Are the fans overreacting? Team overreacting? What do you think?
I definitely think that the fans overreacted. I mean, this is basically midseason form for Angel Hernandez. I mean, the guy has missed the guy has missed a ton of balls, throughout his career behind the plate. And so he's missed a lot of calls. He's a dedicated umpire, but I mean, he's definitely, as far as umpires are concerned, has probably made more than his fair share, more than most umpires out there. But he comes to work every day and does his job, or tries to do his job. He just isn't very good at it sometimes. But I think that when you're talking about balls and strikes, I do think that the fans overreacted, because that's one thing that isn't in the replay right now. You can't just go to the replay and go, did you miss that or not? That's the one thing that the home plate umpire has discretion over, is the balls and strikes. You can try to test everything else, whether it's close play at second base or close play at the plate or questionable calls. You can go back and do that. But when it comes to balls and strikes, it's already in the books. I think that Schwarber was right to be upset, but I thought that a lot of it was a lot of theatrics between the fans and Schwarber and everything. And I mean, let's face it, there's not too many more people out there that could probably make a worse call than Angel Hernandez. But once it was done, it was done. I mean, it wasn't a great call, but I don't think it needed to get blown up to that proportion.
Yeah.
So.
John, how about you? What do you think about the whole fans' reaction to Hernandez's call? I'll get your opinion. What do you think?
How the fuck does this guy still have a job in Major League Baseball? Like, there's a difference between, like, I get, like, making an occasional mistake. That's cool. Like every umpire, that's cool. But when you've missed, I believe somebody said this on, you've missed over 2,600 balls and something like in the last 7+ years. Like, this is not a mistake every now and then. This continuously is an embarrassment to baseball. It's an embarrassment to sports society in general. I don't know how he still has a job. So if there's a way, any credit card company, I can take out a loan to pay out his salary for the rest of his check to get him out of baseball, because there's a difference between an occasionally making a mistake, which referees and umpires do, and then consistently miss something. Who's somebody who's just now learning baseball, 15 games in, could tell that's a freaking strike from 50 miles away in NASA. So it's absolutely disgraceful. I get theatrics, but I mean, over and over and over, it's like, dude, how do you still have a job? This is not incidental. This is happening time and time again, and absolutely disgraceful to the game of baseball.
All right, Chris, how about you? What do you think?
I mean, yeah, the umpires are going to make a bad mistake. It's okay to sometimes, but I think it's just mainly a judgment call. That's basically what it is.
We've all played baseball. John, I guess I don't know your background too much when you're a kid and stuff, but I played baseball from Little League, high school, Babe Ruth, amateur. My coaches have always told me to, 3-2 count, 2 strikes on you no matter what. You choke up the bat, you protect the plate. You swing at anything close. Scherber, yeah, he had all the right to get upset. Hernandez, we all know that his strike zone's kind of out whack. You got to make adjustments. He's going to call the close pitches. You need a swing. I think it was J-Mac last night on the Pro Bro show, I think, said that, there's a lot of umps that, aren't going to let that slide. They're going to call the close pitches no matter if it's a ball or not, to get you to swing. If you're going to go up this try to look at 4 pitches, it ain't going to happen. With that being said, man, I get it. I mean, it's a close play call, but again, I got to go with the ump. I think he made the right call. Yeah, if you look at the screen, it was a ball, but Scherber should have swung. I mean, you're a professional. You make it. I think that's what upsets me the most is that you're always told to swing with 2 strikes and he didn't do it. I get upset when the Twins don't do it. When I'm watching them and they watch, Mauer and Morneau are, good at watching that 3rd strike right down the middle, and they would just look at it, So I get that. But somebody posted a website, and I don't know how accurate it is, but I've been kind of toying with it, looking at it. It's umpscorecard.com. And if we go by the grading scale that we all learned in school, 90% to 100s and A, 80 to 89s and B, and so on and so forth, Angel Hernandez, his average score is a 91, 92%. So he's in A range. Looking at it, he's missed about 8% of his calls in his games that were either strikes that he called balls or balls that were called strikes. Top person is like 11%. So yeah, it's a judgment call. I mean, trust me, I'm not trying to back Hernandez because I do think his strike zone's way out of whack. But after looking at that website, if you guys want to check it out, like I said, it's umpscores.com. He's graded out pretty consistently. He's had a bad few games where it's 85% to 88%, which, if we go with the schoolyard or a school grading system, that's a B. But his average is a 91, 92%. So, that's an A minus, let's say. So not as bad as we all think after you start looking at that. Again, I don't know how accurate it is. It goes back to 2015. So, you guys could take a look at it and maybe we could talk about it on another show. I am going to reach out to the ump that we had on, Dale Scott, see if he wants to come on and chit chat about this. I'll reach out to him and see if we can get him back on as a guest, and he can definitely talk about it. But anyways, Chris, why don't we go through some scores again, update our fans on what's going on in baseball.
All right, so I know the game I'm watching, the Rangers and the Astros. Astros are up 1-0, bottom of the second. 1 ball, 2 strikes. It's a tie game between Milwaukee and Pittsburgh. 5-4, Milwaukee's in the lead, top of the 6th. Cincinnati's quickly catching up against the Padres.
No!
9-5, top of the 6th. Seattle is winning against Tampa Bay 8-0, bottom of the 6th. Philadelphia is winning against Colorado, top of the 6th, 7-0. Miami's winning against Washington 3-1, top of the 5th. Yankees are beating the Orioles 4-0, bottom of the 5th. Toronto is beating Boston 2-1, top of the 5th. White Sox are still down against the Royals. Kansas City is winning 2-0, top of the 5th. The Braves are winning against Chicago Cubs 2-1, bottom of the 5th. Twins are still leading against the Tigers 1-0. I think they're moving into the bottom of the 4th. Bottom of the 4th. The Mets are winning 1-0 against the Cardinals, top of the 3rd. And then there's 3 more games that haven't been played yet.
Okay, they haven't started. All right. So, guys, a few more minutes left in the show. Who's our surprise teams right now, good or bad? Greg, I'll start with you. Give me a good surprise team and a bad surprise team in your eyes.
Let's see. A good surprise team. I wouldn't say that they're good, but a surprise team right now is the A's. They're not bottom dwelling or close to bottom dwelling as I thought that they would be. So I think that the A's, they actually got a couple good up and coming prospects that are playing lights out right now. So they're showing a little signs of life. I mean, I definitely think there's going to have a pretty bad season when it's all said and done. But they're actually playing a lot better at baseball than I thought they would be at this point, though.
Okay.
So, and then as far as bad, I think that it's kind of another kind of slower start, for the Braves again. They're kind of getting off to a little bit slower start, kind of like they did last year. Things just aren't clicking yet and everything. But I think that once they get Acuna back pretty soon, I think things will be looking a lot better. But with all the pitching, all the moves that they've done in the last 6 months or so, I'm expecting them to get hot. But I think that with Freddie's departure and everything, I think that everything's just kind of slow moving right now in Atlanta.
All right, Chris, give me a good team, bad team in your eyes that surprised you.
I think we all kind of agree that, and I'll just say two teams because I'm saying one is as a homer thing is the Rangers. I would say surprisingly, only because of the additions we've had. But then I'd probably go with the Angels as another, surprising team.
All right, John, how about you? Going into the season, learning the game, who's your surprise team on the good and surprise team on the bad? John, if you're there, you're on mute, bud.
Sorry, my phone's being weird. Surprise team. I don't want to say what I was going to say because that may get me in trouble. I think, what was their, correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't remember the team name. It was, they playoff, I guess, to be in the playoffs since like the early 2000s, and they're like 8-6 right now. I'm not saying they're going to be like an elite team, but
8-6 right now.
Or I could be right, like 8-6, 7-5. I could be really off on that, but fudge, man, I'm having a
Houston.
Mm-hmm.
You talking about the Astros or?
I thought it was. Was it? No, wait, no. I'm sorry. I'm completely blanking on the team right now. Never mind. That's not the team, but I can't. Complete brain fart. But bad team though. I mean, what Minnesota? I'm not just pick. I'm not like we love the joke, but it's just. You wonder why certain players I get going for money, but it's just some team I just don't understand. I'm surprised actually. I'll say this. Somehow I didn't think the Athletics were going to get 30 wins in the season, and they have 10 wins. That guarantee they're moving to Vegas after 2024. But for now, that's a decent record. But we know in the end they're going to collapse like their toilets did in 2012.
Okay. For me, I mean, I gotta go with Chris. I thought the Rangers were gonna be a lot better. I mean, they're sitting at 10-6 right now, so that's kind of surprising me. But we're still early. The Mets, I kind of surprised me. They're 13-5 right now, and without DeGrom, I mean, they're really showing. Right now they're 4.5 up on the Marlins. I mean, Marlins could be another surprise team. But I'm really surprised that the Mets are actually putting it all together at the beginning of the year. And I don't want to jinx them or anything, but, I mean, we know how the Mets are. But, and I know Dirk's probably enjoying it right now because he is a Mets fan. So, but, yeah. So, some news I was reading on, and speaking of DeGrom, he's showing some improvement in his shoulder, so hopefully he'll be back soon. The Braves – Eddie Rosario is going to be out 8 to 12 weeks. He's dealing with some eye procedure. I think he was having blurry vision. Might be something that Mr. Sano might look into because he did strike out looking again today. So I don't know what's going on with him, but Rosario will be out 8 to 12. Outside of that, actually, here's a story. I don't know if you guys caught it. Former A's pitcher Dave Stewart, actually one of my favorite non-Twins pitchers, is looking to put a bid in to MLB to start an expansion team out in Nashville. Dave or Greg, I mean, what do you think of that move? And we would have to expand 2 teams. So where else could we put another MLB team?
You know, I think that I like the move by Dave Stewart and company to try to move a team. I think that Nashville would be an excellent place to put a team. You know, I've heard that city for years be a potential destination for expansion. I think that as far as another move, I don't know. I think that like somewhere in the Midwest would be good, like Oklahoma City. I think could be a good little place for baseball. I'm trying to think where else. I don't know. I think maybe I know Texas. Texas would love to maybe have like one more baseball team, but
No,
I think that probably I think that probably I don't know.
we already have 3 teams for the NBA. I think we're good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So I don't know. Indianapolis, I think, would be a good baseball town too,
Okay.
possibly.
All right, Chris, how about you? Let's talk, what's your thoughts on Nashville possibly getting a team? And then where else would you put another team to even those teams out again?
Nashville would be a good spot. I mean, you could put that one in either West Division. You want to put either AL West or the NL West. Another place I would think of putting a spot, and there's been jokes about it, of this team or this place, but I would think like somewhere in Canada. I think Montreal was a spot they've kind of
Yep.
joked about, restarting a team and Brady being like the GM, which would make sense. He was kind of drafted there, you could say.
Oh, yeah.
But-
Yeah, no, matter of fact, you're right. Tom Brady was actually the final draft pick for the Montreal Expos before they folded or moved, I should say. They didn't fold. No, I'm with you. I say let's bring it to Nashville. Nashville's a growing city. Dave Stewart, his club or his buyers and group. I say Nashville will be perfect. Another team, Chris kind of stole it. I say up in Canada, but I think Canada needs a team that's established. And I know they toyed around with moving the Rays up there part time. So I would like to see them have a team, but then, maybe Oregon.
Vegas.
Greg said Indiana would be a good one.
Yeah. Probably Las Vegas would be another good option.
Well, that's where the A's are going to go. So
Yeah.
maybe we bring the expansion back into Oakland once they get a new stadium. I don't know. So
If they get
No,
a new
probably
stadium.
not. I think that baseball's in Oakland is pretty much going to be done.
and that's going to be tough for me to swallow because I grew up with watching the Athletics, the Bash Brothers, Ricky Henderson. I mean,
Yeah.
they've had some good teams over the years and good players. I mean, for me,
Yeah.
baseball without them,
Moneyball.
It's just that they become, the A's have basically tried to get by off of the analytics and the money ball.
yep.
And then anytime they get remotely good, then they want to sell off everybody. And then
Oh,
they go
yeah.
to the Yankees and all the big market teams want the prospects. So it just
Nope.
sucks.
No, and I get it. That Coliseum, haven't been there, but all the stories I hear, everybody that goes there, it's a toilet, pretty much. So,
Yeah.
I mean, even when the Oakland Athletics were good, I mean, Canseco, McGuire always complained of how big the foul lines were. They lost so many at bats because they had all that ground to cover. So,
And then you had the Raiders
yeah,
or Chargers.
yeah, it was I
Uh,
think it was a football stadium, but
Yeah, but I mean, when they had that transition from baseball to football,
The owner
yeah.
doesn't want to spend any money. The fans don't want, the city doesn't want to help with the stadium. It's just, they're at a stalemate. So something's
Yeah.
got to be done.
yeah, and it's going to be Oakland leaving, and you're probably not going to get another team, if any, until another expansion happens. So,
Yep.
but anyways, guys, we're about that time. So, John had to leave. So, John, I want to say thanks for joining us. Hopefully, we get you back on. Dirk should be returning next week. And like I said, I'm going to reach out to a couple people that we've had on and see if I can get them back on to talk about their views on Hernandez. So just keep checking out. Crispy Bacon, why don't you give us a little what's going on coast to coast and your final thoughts?
Ooh. Yeah, no, after that last update I did on the scores, the Rangers tied it up, so it's 1-1.
All right.
I think it's the bottom of the third now. But coming up on Coast to Coast, we're going to have Tuesday Night Mania covering not just WWE, but all things wrestling. And then we're going to have our draft special this week, OVW, and then, and then the women's football, I believe, this weekend.
Okay.
So tune in Coast to Coast this week and every week.
All right. And then Big Dog Greg, what do you got going on and your final thoughts?
Well, I just been working a lot and everything, and I think that it's kind of crazy as a substitute teacher what the kids know and don't know. I think it's time to get the kids back on the fundamentals. These kids can tap into computers and figure out what the FBI and the CIA are up to, but they can't read analog clocks. So I think it's time to get back to the basics. But I'm just going to keep following my Cardinals. Unfortunately, over here in Oregon, the only thing I get to see for consistent baseball is the Mariners. So,
Okay.
I'll keep track of that a little bit and everything. I'm following the NBA playoffs, trying to see if Devin Booker can come back healthy and everything, and see how your Timberwolves are going to keep grinding. So, other than that, that's all I got.
All right. Yeah. So at the 9 o'clock hour Central Time, we will have Tuesday Night Mania. We're going to do a kind of a fantasy booking, old school, new school, WWF, WWE versus WCW. Like Chris said, Thursday we're going to have our draft special hosted by Sir Crispy Bacon. From pick 1 to pick 32 again, hopefully, if he can last that long. Yeah, and then we'll have Sports Minute on Wednesday, the Bo and Joe Show on Wednesday, Biggie Skinny Show on Thursdays and Fridays, that show, and then Sunday morning tailgate, we'll have our draft recap, our grades, and everything like that. So just keep checking us out on Coast to Coast. So with that being said, this is Big B, Sir Crispy Bacon, Greg, and again, thanks to John Elko for joining us. Thank you for the fans, and we'll catch you all next week on Tuesday Night Mania on deck. That's what show we're doing. All right, have a good one, guys.